It's story time. Chapter 2. Followed by Jackknife. Content warning for mention of alcoholism, substance abuse, and suicide attempts. I don't remember the first time I saw it. I also don't remember how often I saw it or when exactly, like if it was linked to not being able to sleep or certain things happening during the day. All I know is I saw it many times, always at night, always in the same way, in the same place. I was always scared of the upstairs bathroom. I also don't remember which fear came first, of the bathroom or of it. When I was 5 or so, my family moved into a new house in rural upstate New York. It was new construction, so as far as I know, there's no trauma related to the house itself. Of course, that doesn't discount trauma related to the land itself. All the land in the so-called United States is soaked in blood. It also doesn't discount any trauma that occurred inside the house once we moved in. My parents are alcoholics. I read recently the idea that ghosts aren't just dead people, but the lingering emotional trauma of the living. I can believe that. Anyway, the thing I saw. Like I said, it was always the same. Only at night, I would see it standing in the bathroom, facing away from me, looking into the mirror. It was a tall, masculine presence, human in shape, if not in feel, with long, straight, dark hair obscuring its face. It was always looking into the mirror, but I don't remember being able to see its reflection in the mirror. To this day, I fear mirrors at night. I was terrified of it. What is strange, though, is the precise fear that gripped me. I wasn't afraid it was coming to get me, or that it would go after my sleeping family. I was afraid it would turn and look at me, slowly, slowly, slowly moving its head until its face met mine, unobscured by that dark hair, that it would look at me. It never did. At least, not that I remember. Eventually, I grew up and left this house, as children are wont to do, and as young adults are wont to do. I forgot this night terror of my past. It didn't seem to follow me. One day, when I was home from college visiting my family, I was in the backyard with my 2 younger brothers. We were hanging around the swing set and discussing the various scary things we had seen in the woods behind our house. Stories for another time. Eventually, my middle brother, Z, said, "You know, I've always been scared of the upstairs bathroom." My heart dropped. My breath caught. "What do you mean?" "Well, when I was little, I used to see this thing." Even sitting here and writing this story, to break the fourth wall, my eyesight goes a little fuzzy and a deep chill runs down my back. I can only imagine it was even scarier then. Z went on to say, "Yeah, this thing, it was a guy who stood in front of the bathroom mirror. The thing was always just standing there. It had all this long black hair in front of its face, and it was looking into the mirror, and I couldn't see its face. But what's weird is, I was always scared the thing would turn and look at me." I could not, to put it lightly, believe what I was hearing. My older brother, S, was confused. "What the hell are you guys talking about? Are you messing with me?" Interestingly, or coincidentally, who knows, is that Z and I share things that we do not share with S. We both have survived suicide attempts. We both have struggled with severe substance abuse issues. We both have these deep mental health issues. S, while his life hasn't been exactly peachy either, hasn't walked those dark paths in the same way. What if there is something specifically haunting Z and me? This used to be where the story ended. I loved to tell it, and like much of my trauma, I told the stories often enough that I had a sort of detachment to them. They were just stories, almost like they happened to someone else. I enjoyed being able to scare people with the truth. I also wanted to see who would believe me. That, too, is like trauma. But then something else happened. It was a lovely day, spring or maybe early summer, in my home at the time in Middle Tennessee. I was hiking near the river in a place I also feel to be specifically haunted, with a friend. Since I brought up the area being haunted, we started exchanging ghost stories. It was fun, a favorite pastime of mine. They had some spooky stories. After the hike, I went to get acupuncture from another friend who was studying to get her license. I suffer from chronic pain, and since she was still studying, she was offering me regular acupuncture at extremely low prices, like $5 a session. I would go to her house or she would come to mine. That night, I went to her house. I don't know if you've had acupuncture before, but it is not uncommon to fall asleep during the sessions. That rarely happens with me. Because of my PTSD, I have trouble falling asleep, especially when it isn't bedtime. I don't nap because of that. This time, though, my head felt fuzzy, and I drifted off. I woke up when my friend gently roused me and took the needles out. My head was still quite fuzzy, but I managed to make it home. As far as I knew, nothing out of the ordinary had happened. A few days later, this friend came to my house for another acupuncture session. Usually we did the same points every time, but she told me that this time she wanted to try something different. She said she wanted to work on some points, the gate or something like that, directly linked to family trauma. I was enthusiastic about that. I know I still have deep healing to do. I told her it was interesting she should mention family trauma. First, because we had never really talked about that before, but second, because the last time I got acupuncture from her, I had told a friend about a ghost me and my brother have seen, a ghost that I believe represents our family trauma. Wait, my friend said. What does this ghost look like? I opened my mouth to respond, but before I could, she said, Is it tall? Masculine? With long dark hair covering its face? Shock and fear jolted through me. How could she possibly know that? Is it a common kind of ghost? How do you know that? My siblings saw that the night you were over for acupuncture. It was outside the window of the room you were in. I truly did not know what to do. I was terrified. I thought I had lost its power over me decades ago, but here it had followed me through states and years. Was it just around all the time? My friend could see my terror and tried to reassure me. She said I could try asking it what it wants, what it is trying to tell me. But the thought of seeking out this ghost was absolutely baffling to me. I could not imagine it. I just wanted to run away. We had the session, did the gate points. I never reached out to the ghost, the thing, the lingering trauma. I was too scared of inviting it or what it might tell me. I told my brother about this, and he said he thinks the thing is the ghost of a farmer who lived in the area before we did. That makes no sense to me, but maybe I'm just making this story all about me, which is what my mother says I do. There is no satisfying answer here. No end. I still don't know. All I can do is tell my story. Thanks for listening. Ghosts are not only the lingering spiritual remains of those who have lived before us, as most horror movies teach us. Ghosts can also be created from trauma. Every thought we think, every action we make, emits energy off of our bodies. You know how you can feel the tension in the air when you're arguing with someone, or feel the joy when you're at a party with friends? What you're feeling is a ghost. You may not see it, but it's there. And sometimes that ghost is so potent and so strong that it can take a recognizable form, as in Jackknife's case, a masculine presence with long dark hair. It's a reminder for us to be conscious of the energy we put out, because it can haunt those around us, or even ourselves. What kinds of ghosts are you creating? So Jackknife, I don't know if you're still haunted by this presence, but if you are, I truly hope that you will find peace one day.